It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is Brittany Fox right there from their live release, Long Way to Live, one of my favorite all-time live discs with Turn On. And kicking off the show, we heard some Armored Saint from the March of the Saint release with Can You Deliver? And stepping up to the mic is a guy who I would say probably 9.785% of the time he delivers. I want to welcome my good friend, partner, Chris Aiken. What's going on, Chris?
What is up, sir? It is about 1,000,006 degrees here in fucking Studio B. Holy fuck.
Well, I think you should spring and get at least a window unit put in that place so you could have it.
I mean, I have the portable, but my son took it.
Oh, well, I guess you got to get another one now.
I know, but I didn't expect it. I mean, last week it was warmer outside than it is today. But, man, it's just fucking... It's more humidity than it is fucking heat in here. But, holy shit, I am soaking fucking wet.
Yeah, I know. I've been sweating the last couple of days, especially yesterday.
Yeah, because you were out there at the... I can't believe you made it back. The way... I know you were fighting the crowds and shit to get out of there, man. I heard there was like that they were closing roads for like 200 miles. There was so much traffic.
Yeah, they had traffic control out there. Ohio State troopers were busy. The Lima police force, they were, taken away from their crack haven duties and directing traffic.
How many cops you think it took to direct traffic at that place? 2?
Yeah, I saw one trooper and one local guy.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah, so that should be fun. But, yeah, I'm back. It was a one-day excursion over to Ohio, and, boy, it was hot and it was humid.
And it was not so well attended.
Not so well attended, yes. That is correct. At least
it wasn't. Can you imagine if there would have been 20,000 people there as well? It would have been like 10, 15 degrees hotter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Woo.
Yeah.
Sucked.
Well, it stormed over there early this morning, about 4:30 in the morning. I mean, it came in torrents, just rain and thunder and lightning and buckets and buckets. I'm glad I didn't go out there today because I guarantee you that fairground was going to be nothing but a mud pit.
Ugh, wish I could be. No, I don't. I made the right choice to stay home, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I mean, it was fun for me just because I got to see some people I haven't seen in a while and sit down and, shoot the shit. But as far as the, the show or the crowd was concerned, not so much.
Sounds like about 1 to 2% of the entire crowd were CMS fans, right?
Yeah, I would say that there may have been more performers there than there was crowd.
Oh, no.
Road crew. Backstage hands, the actual band's performers. I would say that it was about equal crowd, equal performance. It was like a 1-to-1 performance, one musician per person who attended.
Now, what were they advertising for that thing? 30 to 40,000 people? That was what they were hoping for?
Well, I don't know. I don't recall that they set a number, but
just don't give a number yet. But just from you looking out over it, because I'm sure you were on stage, right?
I was.
So when you looked out over it, how many people would you envision could have filled it?
Easily 20,000.
So 20,000 people. All right. Would you say that it was at capacity?
I guess if the line at the hot dog stand was capacity, I would say yes.
Would you say they did 10,000 seats yesterday?
Like I said, if the line at the bathroom was any indication of the crowd, I would say yes.
All right. Would you say that the crowd was 30 people deep?
No.
Would you say that it was 20 people deep?
Deep? Like as wide as the stage and deep?
Yeah, then go back.
I would say it was probably about half of that.
So 10 deep.
10 to 15 deep.
So roughly, what we would normally draw if we did a show at like Billy's Club.
Yeah, perhaps. Maybe a few more than that, but in that ballpark.
Holy shit. I hope they did great today because, wow.
Yeah.
lost their... Did you see anybody backstage look like he might be a promoter with a rope around his neck?
I did see the promoter. I did speak with him very, very briefly. I had to get our credentials and our passes and our laminates and things. And, the guy was, running around and, doing his duties as the promoter of the show. And,
did he seem excited?
He did. He seemed very excited. He said that, man, I'm sorry you guys had to wait, because I basically had to wait an hour or more to finally, track this guy down.
Okay.
And, he was just like, oh, I just been so busy. He says the walk-ups have been insane. The walk-ups have been insane.
The walk-ups were insane, and yet you saw 500 people in front of the band?
I'm gonna guesstimate probably 800, tops.
800, so enough people to fill the Agora Ballroom.
Yes.
All right, so that would be about 800.
Yeah.
For a 20,000 seat, 20 to 30,000 seat event.
Sure.
Wow. Not quite 1/20th.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Plus, it was fucking 900 degrees outside, too.
Oh, it was. I don't know if it was so much the heat or just the wet blanket, humidity. I mean, it was just the air was just so thick and just wet.
Right. Now, I have only seen a couple of pictures from the place, but I'm sure you can shed some light on this. Was there anywhere? Because it looked very open field.
It was a big grandstand area.
So there was no shade anywhere.
No, unless you walked out away from the performance area. They did have tents and they did have food, beverages, things like that, to where you could go into these tents to sit down and get something to eat or something. But out in the open, no, there was nothing. There was no awning or shade or anything. No.
Did you happen to wander into any of the tents?
No, I didn't go out into the main area at all. I was just back, in the backstage area.
No riffraff for you.
No, I went to the catering hall, which was one big building, and it was air conditioned and everything, where they were serving the food and drinks and stuff.
Right.
But unless you had to ride a golf cart, okay, just about anywhere you had to go, because it's the fairgrounds, so it was kind of all spread out. So in order to get from the backstage area to the catering, you had to take a golf cart, because it was probably a good quarter mile away.
Wow. Wow, this already sounds horrible. How was the sound system?
I'll give them that they did the sound right, because Dokken did not have an issue. I did see Don walk over to the console just once, but that was it.
All right, so that's not bad.
But then again, I stood behind the sound guy and I said to him, would you please pay attention to Don's signals? I said, keep eye on the stage, please.
Right.
That's what I told him. I said, Don has signals. If it's too high or too low, just watch his signals. I said, please do not take your eyes off the stage.
Okay. And he didn't.
And it turned out well.
Well, that's good. Did the other bands sound good?
They all sounded good. Everybody sounded good. I thought everybody sounded well.
Who all did you actually see?
I saw D Snyder.
Okay.
I saw some Steel Panther.
Okay.
Winger, Dokken, Last in Line.
Okay.
Let's see, who else? That's it. That's all I really saw.
All right. Who was good? Who was bad? Let's get the rundown.
I was surprised at how good Last in Line sounded.
Really?
Doing the Dio stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
who's singing with them now?
I don't know the guy's name off the top of my head. I mean,
it the same guy, Andrew Freeman?
It could have been him.
Okay.
It could have been. He sounded great. He did the Dio stuff good, and they did their original material good, and it was very Dio-esque.
Okay.
So it was good stuff. I thought they did very well. Then Winger, they're consummate professionals. I mean, those guys. Every time I've seen Winger, I'm not the biggest Winger fan.
Okay.
But boy, those guys play. They are tight. They play well. They all of those guys, they're great musicians, every one of them.
Yeah, I mean, they did some cheesy videos. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but you can't take away from their talent.
Yeah, the big three in that band were regarded as like high-end guys from their Alice Cooper days, weren't they?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, and whatchamacallit, Reb, I mean, he's played in a bunch of bands.
Yep. So
that require big-time guitar, not just fucking strum-along shit.
That's exactly right. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
How you doing tonight?
What's going on, John Ruffo?
Hey, just feeling excellent and loving and listening to you guys tonight. And I just want to give you a report on the Iron Maiden concert in Mansfield, Massachusetts.
All right. Did you have good seats?
I had decent seats. I was out on the pavilion.
Okay. And how far back from the stage were you?
Pretty far, but it didn't matter because Iron Maiden stage was so huge. It was excellent.
Oh, good. And how was Bruce Dickinson? Did he sound as good as ever?
No, he didn't actually.
No, he had problems.
Yes, the microphone kept cutting out on him.
So was it his fault that he didn't sound good, or was it because of technical issues?
Oh, it was technical issues.
Okay.
For the first few 3 or 4 songs, but Ghost opened up, and I'll tell you, as soon as Ghost started, the place was fucking electric.
Okay. So overall, how would you rate the overall experience, John?
My overall experience was Iron Maiden was great. The first 3 or 4 songs, all you could hear was Steve Harris's bass, and which is great because I'm a bassist. But Ghost was fucking fantastic. It was fucking Ghost fucking was unbelievably. They had no sound problems, no nothing, and it was electric when they took the stage.
Perfect. All right, John, was that it?
Yeah, that's it. And just wanted to say hello.
All right, John. Well, I like the report that you gave, and I don't want to keep you on too long because I don't want you and Chris to get into it. So, good report.
Oh, no problem. I'm not going to get into it with anybody.
All right, excellent, John.
All right, hey, thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, hail and kill.
All right, fuck you, pal, hand jobs, balloon knots, and whatever else.
All right. There, I tried to do that without getting you pissed off, Chris.
Nice. Thank you.
All right, so there you are. All right, well, getting back to the show in Loudon, Lima.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say that for a show that was doomed from the beginning,
yeah,
they did very well with the sound and the technical stuff.
Okay.
So I will give them that. I didn't see any real problems with any of the bands, and the changeovers they did it very smoothly.
Okay.
Because you gotta every band had their own drum riser. So there was like six sets of drums being set up at any one time in the back.
Okay, and then they just kind of wheeled them around.
Yeah, they had them on a drum riser that was, portable, and they'd wheel out one and wheel the other one in and get it all mic'd up and everything and get rolling with the show.
Right. Well, that's cool.
So it wasn't from a technical standpoint, I thought that they did very well.
Okay. But from a people standpoint, not so much. Not
so much, and I'm gonna blame that on number one, as we all know, or at least if you've been listening to the Classic Metal Show, Lima is not a very affluent area. It's a depressed area.
What?
Yeah, it's a depressed area, and there's not a lot of people out there with that kind of money to spend. And it's number one, you can't have a festival on a Friday afternoon and open the doors at 11. Okay, people work. Okay,
even in Lima.
Even in Lima, the ones who are fortunate enough to have a job, they just can't take the day off and go to this thing.
Sure. Can't say, well, I'd love to work today, but you know what? Dawkins in town.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's a tough sell right there. Apparently, this thing started as a one-day deal, and then they just started getting this bug. Hey, well, let's just do 2 days then, and then let's just extend that through the weekend into Sunday. Ugh. So it went from a 1-day deal to a 3-day deal.
Now, did you have any chance to talk to this guy if he's like an experienced promoter?
He is not an experienced promoter. He's just
this is his first run.
This is his first time. He's a guy who just happened to be, like have a family that has money. Okay. And they're like one of the legacy businesses in town, then they have money. Okay. And somebody said, hey, wouldn't it be great if you guys put on a show? It only costs X amount of bucks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a fan of that stuff. Let's do that.
So what you're saying is that the fairgrounds now owns the tire shop in Lima?
I think so. So, it was definitely a guy who had more money than what he knew what to do with. Okay. And thought that this would be a worthy venture to get into.
You got to just feel bad for the guy, because the guy's probably one of the, there's one of these guys in every city that's fucking like, all city pride. And he's probably one of these guys that's like, oh, fucking Lima's the place, man. One of these guys. And he's like, I'm going to put Lima on the map with this thing.
Yeah, you're probably absolutely right.
And then what happens? 500 fucking people show up.
Yeah.
Or 1,000 or whatever. Yeah. Whatever the number. It's not 20,000.
Yep.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
And his poor family. You gotta be thinking that mom's probably about 7. How old was the guy?
Probably our age, in 40s.
So if mom is still alive, she's probably in her mid-70s or whatever?
Potentially, yeah.
And dad's obviously dead because he would not let his son waste his money like this.
Right.
So mom is trying to be a good mom, doing that last little gasp before she checks out for her son, and just watching him piss 45 years of tire changing down the old tubes.
Right.
In one weekend.
Sure.
Oh, poor mom.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
But I would venture to say that you're probably right on a lot of those assumptions, that it's the whole, I've lived here all my life. Let's do something cool for the city. Let's put us on the map. And yeah.
Damn. My goodness.
Yeah. So, I don't know that, there was any way of salvaging this thing at all.
Were there any buses getting free tires for rate reductions?
Well, it's not like any one of the bands rolled up in a band bus.
Oh, that's true too, because they all did fly-ins too, right?
Yeah, they all did fly-ins.
Holy shit! So this guy probably had $30,000-$40,000 just in plane tickets.
Well, I don't know if it was built into the cost of bringing the band in, or if it was additional, or I'm not really sure what their contractual obligation was.
Okay. Well, what did Don have for you? You said he had a room. Wouldn't that be because they hooked him up?
Well, yeah, that was kind of part of the rider, is that, I get 4 or 5 rooms, get a ride to and from the airport.
Right. Okay.
Plus my fee, plus, whatever.
Right. Oof, I feel bad for this guy. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe today was great and tomorrow will be even better.
Yeah.
Vince Neil's good for... Never mind.
Yeah.
Especially after the Did you see the performance he did at Walk-In last week?
No, I did not.
He actually didn't sound horrible, but he sounded like Vince.
Yeah.
And he looked like Bobby Bacala from The Sopranos.
Yeah, got that big belly going on. Holy shit.
Yeah, he looked terrible. And he was supposed to play a 90-minute set, and he fucking left at 55 minutes. He just said, I'm done.
55 minutes, huh?
55 minutes and out.
Couldn't even do a full hour.
No. But he took his full money, apparently.
I bet he did.
Supposedly it was so bad that the promoter came out on stage afterwards and apologized for booking him.
Wow.
I have not seen the video of that or whatever, but that's what I read in several different news articles, that the promoter came on stage and apologized.
Sorry we wasted your money.
Yeah, people flew in for this bullshit.
Yeah.
And they get 55 minutes of course, 55 minutes of Vince, that's about 45 too much, really.
Yeah.
He's terrible. Would you go tomorrow to see Vince?
No, absolutely not.
How far would you drive today to see Vince Neil?
I would not go see Vince. I've seen Vince, and he's done nothing for me. I mean,
Would you see him if he was playing across the street from your house?
If he was across the street, yeah, I might make the effort to go across the street, but that's about the amount of effort I would use.
Now, is that 100% you would do it?
Yeah, 100%. I would go across the street.
See, I'm probably about 75%. If he was playing in my neighbor's backyard, 75%.
Okay.
I'd probably go, because I can't imagine that I'd find something better on like HBO or Showtime or whatever.
Right.
But if I did, like today is a perfect example. I was watching a show called Vice Principals.
Okay.
On HBO. Actually a pretty fucking funny show.
All right.
It's the guy from Eastbound and Down, and it's Shane from The Shield, and he was also the tranny in Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
Walton Goggins.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty good show. It was like funny right till the end, and then all of a sudden it got really fucking dark. I was like, whoa, where'd this come from? I mean, literally, it's like a lighthearted shit talk comedy show, right? Teachers trying to fuck principal, whatever. That kind of thing, and talking shit to the kids or whatever. And then right at the end, there's a murder. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, how did this happen?
Okay.
But like today, going back to my point, if I was like on episode 6 or 7 of that show today, and Vince was starting, I'd have turned my TV up so I wouldn't have to hear Vince. I wouldn't have gone across the street. No way.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because when we were, Don and I think Kip Winger and a couple other guys, we were hanging out in the little bus, and we were talking about the lineup for this weekend.
Sure.
And Vince did come up, and Don was like, "Have you guys seen Vince lately?" Because I sent him the YouTube video a few weeks back where he was playing, and he goes. All he does is just make the noises.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he said. That's exactly. So Don was like imitating Vince, just doing, So Reb was standing there, and he goes, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah, he just kind of makes the noises."
It is sad that that's what he's reduced himself to.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to not be able to hit high notes or whatever. So you tone it down like 14 octaves or whatever. But man, when you're just out there literally grunting, that's just bad.
Mm-hmm.
And charging people $50 a ticket to see you grunt.
Yeah. And to look like a train wreck on stage as well.
Yeah, he does not look healthy.
Oh, my God. It's like, how do you pack on that much weight? When did the crew end? A year ago, January?
Yeah, and he was in fairly good shape.
Yeah. So in a year, I guarantee you he's packed on over 50 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
Easily.
Well, he must have a big rider and, maybe not the restrictions on drinking that he had with the crew tour.
Yeah, apparently.
Remember, with Vince, that's how he gains his weight, isn't it? Drinking?
I would think so. Did you, what was that show he did years ago where he actually had the plastic surgery done and all that shit? He had his chick with him, his blonde chick.
Was it some kind of makeover?
Yeah, it was sort of a Vince Neil makeover or something.
Looking it up right now.
And he got fairly slimmed down, and, they did a makeover on him, and I think he got some plastic surgery done, and,
It's called Remaking Vince Neil.
That's the one. What year was that? Like 2010 or something?
2004.
That far back? Holy shit!
That's what it says. June 2nd, 2004.
Wow, where does the time go? I thought it was just 7-8 years ago.
Well, Vince sticks in your mind.
So, wow, 13 years ago.
Yeah. He's like one of those guys that has the stomach band surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But gets fat again.
Yeah.
He really is.
Got the lap band surgery.
Yeah. Well, and then gains a second lap.
Exactly.
Just fucking lets it fail.
Yeah. Well, when you look back at, when Motley Crue first started, Vince was just like this little stick figure of a guy.
Yeah. Not anymore.
No, he's 200 pounds more than what he weighed then.
Yeah. He gave that stick figure honor to Mick.
No kidding.
This Mick is like about, 60 pounds?
Yeah, he's a pretty frail guy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, later on tonight, I will regale you with the whole story, the whole road story.
All right.
Tonight, we're gonna have Brittany Fox, singer. Now, I noticed that it says former singer. So is Brittany no more, or what's the deal with that?
I took the word former from a post I saw on his page.
Okay.
I don't have knowledge. The last I heard, they were back and doing an album.
That's what I thought.
But that was already like 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess when we talk to Tommy tonight, he can kind of maybe shed some light on that. I thought they were just doing some, sporadic shows.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I know there was because I asked about an interview because we knew Tommy, and we were given the whole, well, not until there's something concrete to remember?
Yeah.
We had that whole conversation with the publicist, and then it went away. We should have just called him then.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. We're going to talk to Tommy Paris tonight. Now, when are we talking to him?
15 minutes.
Oh, okay. So he's at the top of the hour. All right. So
yeah.
we'll talk to him and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And let me see here. We got some stories tonight. I have some materials tonight that I think should be funny and fun, and we got some follow-up stories on things that we've covered, before.
Sure.
So we got some stuff like that. And then what else? Oh, some girl left us a message on the YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
We have to analyze that.
Yeah, we have to see what that's about.
Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff for you here. So road stories coming your way, and
Sure.
and I'll tell you some of the goofy shit that happened to me yesterday, in the course of being out at this Loud in Lima.
Yeah, well, sounds like I did not make a bad decision.
No, I don't think you made a bad decision. There was no Eddie Trunk.
What?
Yeah, I heard that. Now, I was told Sammy Lee, I talked to Sammy Lee today.
Yeah.
And he basically wanted to get the rundown on, what was going on and whatnot, and kind of give me the update as to what's happening with them. And they're gearing up to go out and do their shows with Tesla.
Sure.
And and also those of you who are waiting on your CMS shirt orders and stuff, I should be able to get those out to you next week. Sammy said that they're sending the shirt order to me Monday.
Well, it's about fucking time, Sammy. Jesus.
Yeah, so I should have the new CMS shirt order in here next week. So I'll definitely get everybody's shirts out to you and hats. So if you're waiting on your order, that's what's kind of held it up a little bit. So I promise you I'll get that in the mail to you this coming week as soon as I get them in.
Very cool.
So anyway, I appreciate everybody's patience.
Sure.
So I did talk to Sammy Lee, and he said that he had heard that, Guns N' Roses, I'm sure you may have seen that they did like a private show in New York.
Yep.
Like an invite only. So I guess Eddie was involved with that rather than Loud in Lima.
Yeah, he definitely was doing that. I could send you the audio if you want to play some of that.
Well, you can do that.
I have the audio.
The audio of what?
That show. The 3-hour thing.
Oh, the whole
Friday.
show.
Yeah, I have the whole thing.
How'd you get it?
Shh. That's how. Shh.
Okay.
But it is soundboard.
All right. Well, somebody already recorded that and turned it around and put it out on the interweb. Just that quick. That was fast.
And then I turned it around and edited the ins and outs so that we got fade ins and outs. So maybe we can use it.
Nice.
Because I'm sure we wouldn't mind having some Guns N' Roses to play.
Sure, why not?
In 2 weeks when we're not allowed to play regular stuff anymore.
Exactly. So Eddie did not go to Loud in Lima. I don't know if he's going at all. I mean, I don't know if he came in today and for today and tomorrow, or they just nixed that whole thing.
Who knows? I know he was doing the broad. It was interesting to hear because he was like doing like a talk up, and then he was. I'll give it to the guy. He'll do anything for $1.
Okay.
So you know how Guns N' Roses played a really long set. I don't know if you saw anything about it, but they played 29 songs over 3 hours.
I did not read or see anything about it. All I know is that they did it.
Yeah, they played a long set, like 5 or 6 covers, 20 plus songs of their own. You know, some of the bullshit songs from Chinese Democracy, like 3 or 4 Chinese Democracy songs. I mean, they played a lot of music. Like I said, 3 hours, and it was almost nonstop. There's hardly any, hey, how's everybody doing tonight? You know, there's almost none of that. It's just kind of straight rocking. But there's the end, and then the delay before the encore.
Okay.
So in comes Ed and some guy. And I mean, when I say some guy, it's just some guy.
Okay.
I don't know who the guy is, and they're doing a talk-up of what they just saw. And it's every fanboy thing. Like he couldn't say, well, Axl sounded a little out of breath here or whatever. It's just, and admittedly, to be fair to Eddie here, and I'm going to try and be fair here, he probably had some of the stage juice himself from watching this 3-hour show. It's probably all amped up anyway.
Right.
But Eddie is just like, that was just the most amazing set ever. I don't think these guys are ever going to stop. They're going to come back and they're going to play till the morning. I was like, Jesus, Ed, slow down. He was really like, I mean, and the other guy was like, yeah.
All right.
So Eddie was like trying to fill that gap in between, like the 2 minutes or whatever that they grabbed a glass of whatever, or grabbed a beer or whatever before they came back on stage. But it's just him doing this hyper, that was the best ever talk up, and carrying this other guy as well.
All right.
I was just, I just had to chuckle. And I know, man, you watch a show and it is a great show. And I'll be fair, it was a great show.
Okay.
It really sounded pretty goddamn good. But, man, he definitely got caught up in the stage juice on that one.
All right.
He was definitely up for that. He was like, this was so amazing.
Amazing.
So amazing.
All right.
It's like, all right, that was a good show.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was good. It was long. Long doesn't make it amazing necessarily.
Right.
But boy, they were playing a lot of covers. You know, they played, they play covers anyway, but let me find it real quick. Let me see. Guns N' Roses Apollo. Guns N' Roses Apollo set list. Let's see here. Let's see. They played. Here's the list.
Okay.
It's So Easy, Brownstone, Chinese Democracy, Welcome to the Jungle, Double Talk and Jive, Better, Estranged, Live and Let Die, Rocket Queen, You Could Be Mine, New Rose, You Can't Put Your Arms on a Memory, This Is Love, Civil War, Yesterday's Coma, Axl or / guitar solo, which then they did some song called Speak Softly Love, which was somebody I'd never heard of cover, a Nino Rota cover.
Okay.
And that led into the Godfather theme. Sweet Child, My Michelle, Whole Lotta Rosie, Wish You Were Here, November Rain, Black Hole Sun.
They did that again?
Yeah.
Oh.
Knocking on Heaven's Door, Night Train, Sorry, Patience, The Seeker, and Paradise City. So by my count, that was 10 covers.
Okay.
10 covers. That's a lot of covers.
And what was the reason for this? I mean, they did this because why?
I think they're saying that it was 30th anniversary of Appetite.
Okay.
But they really didn't focus so much on Appetite, so I think it's just some fucking promotion they worked out with Sirius XM.
Okay.
It is a pretty big band to be playing in the fucking Apollo.
I agree.
It's like 1,500 people.
Yeah. Well, it was an invite-only thing, so it was a very big VIPs thing.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're important, you can come to this. But if you're not, fuck you. Listen to it on the radio.
Exactly.
What a bunch of dicks.
Well, gotta, even companies that used to be fairly affluent, like Best Buy and whatnot, would have one of those closed deals where they would have, a band come in and play just specifically for the higher ups and maybe even the employees and stuff.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty cool. I'll send it to you. It's pretty good.
Okay. All right, excellent. Well, coming up here in the top of the hour, we're going to talk to Tommy Paris, either of or formerly of Brittany Fox. He's got a solo disc out just called the Tommy Paris Band.
Right.
And we're going to talk about it, find out where to get it, and all that. He's doing the smart thing. He's got his own band, marketing his own music. I believe you get it through his own website.
Right.
So that's the way to go these days.
It is.
So we'll play some Tommy Paris here. We'll play a couple of tunes. And what song do you like in this?
Of Tommy or of Brittany?
Well, let's play a Brittany tune, and then we'll go into a Tommy tune, and then we'll get Tommy on the show.
All right. If my favorite would be Bite Down Hard.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what song I want to hear off that. I would like to hear. Come on. Of course it doesn't load. Brittany Fox. I would like to hear the song Black and White.
Okay.
Because that's just a pretty cool rockin' tune.
All right. And how about off of Tommy's solo?
I don't know the names.
Okay.
So pick one. Don't pick one or pick track 1 or 2 because those are usually fast.
All right. Well, Universe is pretty good.
All right.
I like it. So
yeah.
We'll talk to Tommy about it and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, everybody go get a drink, strap in. Tommy Paris coming up at the top of the hour. So here it is. This is Brittany Fox. And this one is called Black and White, exclusively here
on your classic metal show.